I'm Dr. Dan talking from Vitamin Pro, and we're discussing a little bit about food sensitivity. And I wanted just to do an overview, and I think I'm going to have to divide this into two pieces. So this will be part one. And how do you know what you're sensitive to? How should you go about testing it? What about elimination diets? A lot of questions here, and these are problems that I've been working on for many years. In my own personal health and that of others as well. And so I'm going to give you just the insights that I have at this point. Now next year at this time, I may have some other insights, but this is, say July 2012, this is the state of the science at this point as far as I can tell. Now first off, there are a couple of different types of food sensitivities. There's what we call the allergy type, and that's fairly rapid. And then there's the sensitivity. Now allergies, you eat a peanut that you're allergic to, and your throat starts to close up. You're going to start reaching for the EpiPen. The same thing can be true of seafood allergies. So the way that you can tell the difference, generally speaking, without doing IgE or IgA or IgG testing, is to note the response time. Now with food sensitivities, you might not know for a whole day. And I've mentioned before in other videos about my own gluten sensitivities, and I don't notice anything for a day when I eat gluten, but after a day it begins, and then I have problems for about 2 months. So that's a completely different scenario, and that's what's made gluten so hard to track down, because it doesn't just happen right that moment. It's pretty easy to figure out if you're allergic to shellfish, because again, your throat starts to close up and you wonder, what did I eat? And then you find out that someone had put some crab in or whatever into your meal. So with food sensitivities, it's a lot more deceiving, a lot harder to track down, but that's what we're talking about today. Now as far as treating these things, I've used in the past and have had done on me too some energy techniques, like a technique called TBM, and it's Total Body Modification by Viktor Frankl. And there have been some spin-offs of that. One of the more famous ones is NAET. And I support these techniques. I think they're great, but like every tool, you have to use it within the constraints of its effectiveness. So for allergies, these things can be highly effective. I've seen them completely eliminate an allergy, permanently. But if it's food sensitivity, it's just a lot harder. And so, but I encourage people to try those. So let's say that you do have food sensitivity to gluten, then go ahead and use some NET or some TBM on it. But that will help mitigate some of the symptoms you might have, but it won't get rid of it in most cases. So I wouldn't advise you to stop eating it. So what we want to do then to determine, what you're allergic to or what you're react sensitive to would be to do a combination of testing and self-observation. And some people say that the only way to do this is observation, but I don't agree. I think the testing is valuable and can save you some time. The testing isn't perfect, but like I said, it can cut through some of the problems. The big issue I have with just doing observation is that you can't live long enough to do this, because it's going to take you so much time to sort out one food at a time, and you might have to go through 500 foods. How are you going to do that? And plus, some of these foods might have a reaction that you can't observe in your journal. Like if it causes osteoporosis, how are you going to know that? So it could take you 30 or 40 years to figure it out. So you can jump right to that with some of the testing. So I think that's good enough for this episode. I'll pick this up on part 2, and so jump in there, and I'll be happy to continue with this and give you some more information.